In this video, we're going to talk about how to calculate your self-employment tax. But before we do, if this is your first time at our channel or you haven't subscribed, click on the subscribe button at the bottom. My name is Travis Sickle, certified financial planner, helping you reach your financial goals. So self-employment tax is your payroll tax, also known as FICA. And FICA is your Federal Insurance Contributions Act. And these are the payments, the payroll payments that you're making to pay for Social Security and Medicare. Now they can further be broken down into the employer side and the employee side. So as somebody who is self-employed, you're going to pay both sides because you're both the employee and the employer. Now, before we do the calculation, I want to break it down just so you can see how all the numbers add up. So we're going to start with Social Security and Medicare. So the Social Security side is going to be 6.2% for the employee, and then it's going to be 6.2% for the employer. And then on the Medicare side, it's going to be 1.45% for the employee and then 1.45% for the employer. Now, if we add up the Social Security, that's going to equal 12.4%. And then if we add up the Medicare side, that's going to be 2.9%. Which if we add these two numbers up, 12.4% plus the 2.9%, that is going to equal 15.3%. And if we further add these two and these two, that's going to be 7.65% for the employee and then 7.65% for the employer, which equals our 15.3%. So this will be for our employer, and this will be for our employee. Now, before we get into the actual calculation and multiply it out to figure out what our self-employment taxes are, we need to understand two terms. One is called net profit, and the other one is net earnings from self-employment. Now, there's a slight difference in the two, but if you use the wrong number, you're gonna get the wrong answer. So you can find your net profit on your Schedule C for profit and loss from your business. And on line 7 for 2019, you're gonna see your gross income. For this example, we're gonna use $100,000. Now you can see in part 2 your expenses. I didn't put any expenses here, but these would be subtracted from your gross income. And on line 31 of your Schedule C is where you're gonna find your net profit. And this is the number that we're gonna put on our self-employment tax or our Schedule SE. So let me go ahead and pull that up. This is where we're gonna do the calculations for our self-employment tax. And what you can see here is that we put our net profit on line 2, or profit or loss, and we put in the $100,000. Now you can't simply multiply your FICA rate, which is 15.3%, multiplied by your net profit. You actually need to take it a step further. So what you need to do is you need to multiply it by 92.35%, which is what you can see on line 4, and that's where we get the $92,350. Now, the reason we do that is because what we're doing is subtracting 1/2 of the rate of our self-employment. So just to show you on paper, if we take 100 and we subtract 7.65, we're gonna get 9235%. So it's 92.35%. Now, if we were to write this out, it would be 0.9235, and that's what you would enter in on the calculator. And as you can see on the Schedule SC for self-employment tax, if your income is below $132,900 or less, then you could just multiply it by that rate of 15.3%. And that's exactly what we did. If we multiply the $92,350 by 15.3%, that's where we get the $14,130. Now, 1/2 of that, or the deductible portion, is $7,065. And the reason that you see the $132,900 or less multiplied by line 4, which is our net earnings from self-employment, multiplied by 15.3%, is because the $132,900 is the maximum amount that will be applied for the Social Security. The Medicare side doesn't have a limit, so that gets applied no matter how much money you earn. And that's why you see the adjustment of more than $132,900 multiplied by 2.9%, which is the Medicare side. Then you just add the additional $16,479.60. And the reason they broke it down here, where it's just adding the $16,479.60, is because if you take 12.4% and multiply it by that Social Security max of $132,900, that's how you get the $16,479.60. And if you earn even more money, there's an additional Medicare tax of 0.9% additional. But those have income thresholds. And those income thresholds, if you're married filing jointly, is $250,000 and above. If you're married filing separately, it's $125,000 and above. And if you're single, head of household, or a qualifying widower, it's $200,000 and above. So to avoid making a mistake, paying too much in taxes, or just being confused about your self-employment taxes, it's important to remember that it's based on your net earnings from self-employment and not your net profit. And that is how you calculate your self-employment tax. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and leave your comments down at the bottom.